Okay, got it clicked.
Very good, thank you.
Do want to welcome Randy Hesley for sharing his expertise with us. He is a great asset to our division, and we're so thankful to have him here. So I'm going to turn it over to Randy.
Okay, is it easier to see, like, do you have it set up for its speaker view where y'all can see the screen behind me? Can everybody see that really well?
Yeah.
Cool. Makes my job a lot easier than having to share my screen. Okay, like Jacqueline said, my name is Randy Hesley. I'm out of Sequoia High School. I've been with Career Tech now for 10 years. I'm in my 11th year with them. This is the only educational program I've ever done. I came out of a 25-year military career almost directly into teaching, and that was a major transition for me, coming from learning, using certain adjectives to not being able to use those adjectives anymore with the students. But ever since I've gotten here, I mean, like I said, this has been my whole career in teaching, is with Career Tech. And, Jacqueline and Carrie and Christy are phenomenal people to work with. You can't, ask for a better group up there at the headquarters. I can remember back 11 years ago when I was in your position, sitting there being overwhelmed with all this stuff they're throwing at me, especially not having an educational background. So I get where you're at. I understand it. I sympathize with you. But I promise you, they are up there at the State Department. They'll take care of you. If you have any questions, they usually get back to you within like a month or two, a day or two. And they're awesome. So anyway, today they asked me to talk to you guys about career readiness and work-based learning in K12. My program here at Sequoia High School is the only one in the state that has a certain flair to it. There are other schools that do it, and several have tried and failed. Mine has been working since around 1998, 97 with a lady named Denise McClure from back in the old day. Career Tech folks know her. She started this program. When she retired, it faltered a little bit through no fault of the program. I came in and kind of revitalized it, and we started going. So let's talk about workplace learning. First things first, what is work-based learning, or WBL, whatever you want to call it? So, what is that? I gotta get two things going here at once. Okay, work-based learning. You gotta love educational textbook definitions. It's the educational strategy providing students with real-life work experience they can apply to their academic and technical skills and develop employment or employability. That's the textbook. What is the real purpose of work-based learning? Okay. There are programs designed to bridge the gap between learning and doing. In other words, it gives them the feeling of being in a workplace without leaving the school. So they're actually getting job credit, job skills while still in high school. And a lot of a lot of employers out there say, hey, well, yeah, I see you've got, knowledge, but you don't have any skills, and they're reluctant to hire them a lot of times. I've sat on several panels with businesses here in Tulsa where they said, hey, you know what? You can have all the certificates in the world, but if you don't know how to apply this stuff or how to do the job, I'm not really that interested in hiring you. And those, these are from IT people that, have large companies in the Tulsa area. So how do we get there from, how do we bridge that gap? How do we get them there is the next question really we need to know about. Well, you have to build a foundation. Uh-oh, I lost my spot there. Hang on. You got to build a foundation. There's the problem, yeah. Homer's on this thing. I'm doing two things and it's not working the way I want to. All right, you got to build a foundation. You have to align your classroom and workplace learning, apply academic, technical, and employable skills, and you have to have classroom and workplace mentors. In other words, you got to build that foundation and make it strong. It's like a house. You've got to have that in there. So, how do you build these foundations? Let's look at a mix. Okay, aligning classroom and workplace learning. Provide students training, skills, and experience. In my program, I actually have students that come in every day, and I send them out into our district, and they fix computers and network issues that we have. They go into the classrooms where the teachers are at saying, my computer's not working. They go in, they troubleshoot, they diagnose, they repair. If it's not repairable on spot, they'll take the computer away, give them a temporary loaner, bring it back to our lab, and repair it. We give them the skills to go out there. Now, a lot of the programs out there, a lot of the problems we run into are simply just, the computer wasn't plugged in. That happens more often than not. We had like 5 of them already. We started last week with school. Teachers call up, my computer won't work. We always ask, is it plugged in? Yes, it's plugged in. I'll send my tech over there, and sure enough, it might be plugged into the back of the computer, but not the wall, or even better, plugged into the wall, but not the back of the computer. Many have had that happen. We parallel our academics and workplace tasks. So in other words, hey, the stuff in the books, you try to make it mirror what you've got going on out there. One of the things we do for my advanced kids, we do networking. We've got them stripping wires and learning how to set, RJ45s and keystones, how to run cable through the buildings, how to set up wireless. We are going wireless here. We've got wireless access points all around our campus we've been setting up this year to help support our remote kids who can come into the parking lot and work when they don't have capability at their house. And they've been wiring those in, setting those up, setting up the IP addresses. Encourage students to provide feedback. What might work great in my mind might not work great out there. And they tell me, hey, Mr. Hesley, that's jacked up. Okay. Of course, my answer is find me a fix. I make them troubleshoot the problem. I don't sit there and say, you're right, go do this. I want them to learn how to do, critical problem solving on their own. You got to keep your instructors current with industry needs. Everybody knows IT changes every day. Something new is happening all the time. You can't, it's like right now we're for the A+ certifications. We're on the 1102 or 1002, 1001, 1002. I can remember back when we were back in the 7s and the 8s. It changes quickly. Does the information change? A little bit, but not enough that, you can't transition on your own, but you've got to stay current with what you've got. And of course, never ever stop improving. We can't ever stop learning. Once we stop learning, we get behind, and kids will ask a question and be like, I don't know. And honestly, our kids are smarter than we are. They know how to do things that we can't even imagine doing. They asked me, some asked me a question last week. I'm like, I'll get back with you on that. When they left, I went over to my computer. I Googled it. Google's your friend. Don't be afraid to use it. All right, so build the foundation. Let me see, what we got now? We'll do some more. Apply academic, technical, and employable skills. Set rigorous standards. I know everybody is tired of the word rigorous, or, rigor has been beat to pieces. I get it. But we've got to keep the kids going in a direction that's going to help them go look forward and stay current forward down the road. Mix books and hand-on learning. Simulate virtual and actual. I've got a repair lab. I'm fortunate in my classroom that I have a classroom side, and then I have a repair lab side where I can do 2 different things. If I'm sitting there and say, okay, we're going to go across the way in my computer 1 class and say, we're going to build the computers today, we can walk over there to the workbenches, and you'll see them here in a little bit, and literally just put hands on to it and work it up. And then I can come back over here and say, okay, we're going to read about what makes the CPU so special, or how we get to the bridges. We got to expand our career awareness. I will tell you, I am bad when it comes to web design. I am really, really bad. But I have a teacher who I work with, Lori McLaughlin, who's also one of our career tech teachers, who's phenomenal with it. So when my kids are having a question about something in her class, I will call her and ask her. I actually have sat through her stuff, and I go through her curriculum just so I can understand it. And constantly prepare and train. We got to get better. we got to study. Brain Bench is great. If you want to go out there and get some certifications that are on the easy way to do it, Brain Bench is the way to do it. I encourage you to go through CompTIA for any other stuff like that, because those are industry recognized. Let's see. Next. Classroom and workplace mentors. Again, what happened here? Oh, yeah. We set the regular standards, we mix the books and hands-on. Virtual programs are phenomenal. I use a program from TestOut called LabSim, where literally they can go in there and put hands on a computer before I send them over to my lab, and they actually break my equipment. And it happens every year. I get a student that breaks something. It's okay. Career Tech gives us plenty of money to fix those things. That's why they give us that big pile of change at the beginning of the year. Develop professional relationships. Like I said, I've sat on several panels down from Tulsa with people and heard things. I have made friends from Google to Tulsa to Texas, all across the country. Those professional relationships can help you stay afloat. Plus, say someday you want to have a speaker come in. You can tag someone. I'm trying to work right now with a guy named Mike Myers. Some of y'all may have heard of him. He's out of Texas. He has a really good book. He's got some great videos. I actually went down and met him a few years back because I lived down there. It was like 20 minutes from my house. So I went down to my sales rep and actually ran to him and met him. He said, I'll talk to your class whenever you get a chance. I'm like, cool. Invite oversight. We are not all knowing. We are not all perfect. All right. Have someone come in who actually knows your program or knows what you're leaning towards. I have 2 tech centers here close to me that I can reach out to and say, hey, I used to be able to say, hey, Brooke, can you come watch what I do and give me a look at what you've got? And she would come in here and just kind of look over my curriculum, say, yeah, this is good. And, you know, you may want to look at adding this or changing this along the way. Brooke had she ran the East program up here for Northeast Tech. Phenomenal program. She's moved up to a new position. I have no clue who the new person is yet. So, but I hope to meet them here sometime soon. Let me see. So, who benefits from workplace learning? Well, of course, you know, the students will. Students always benefit from when we can put them in a position where they're going to go and better themselves. Schools benefit. Yeah, because like I said, we're a small school. We have a 1-person IT department. Well, 1 person and myself. My students help us with that. And of course, hey, employers benefit, because like I mentioned earlier, employers want people who have skills, who have the capability to do stuff. Certifications are great, they say, but again, they want that hands-on, knowing how to work stuff. So, what are some of the areas benefited by workplace programs? Okay, for students specifically, hey, they get real-world experience, hands-on, going out and doing stuff, knowing to, you know, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey works all the time. Practical skills, they get to practice them all the time. Before my kids become what I call an Eagle Tech in my program, they will build and rebuild a computer probably 20 times before I actually consider them for that program. Soft skills. Soft skills are a killer for our youth. Because most of them talk, yeah, okay, what, huh? Dress, when they dress up to them, it's jeans with no holes in them. Yeah, that's a plus. All right, in our program, we have what we call a leadership contract. One of the things is called Dress for Success. That's why I'm in coat and tie today, by the way. They have to come dressed as if they're going to be working in a business atmosphere. Now, I give them the benefit. I said minimum standard, polo, and khakis. That's the minimum. I encourage them to go up and, you know, get a better set of, you know, apparel for what they've got. I tell them all, a guy cannot go wrong if you have a pair of khakis, a white shirt, and a blue blazer. You cannot go wrong. That's like the go-to thing for every guy out there. If you've got that, you can go to anything. And I tell them, do it on the cheap. Thrift stores are phenomenal. I can go to a place we have here in Claremore called Thrift Harbor. For $10, I can go in and get a nice blazer, a pair of pants, a shirt, and a tie. So I tell them to do it cheap. I tell them to build their clothes store so they know what they can use later on. Because if you go into a store or a place to work and you're wearing those ripped jeans or the ratty tennis shoes, getting hired probably is not going to happen. Networking. I have people come in here for our district. Our IT office is right next door. My students who are in that program actually get to see those guys, get to meet them. They've been hired directly from us to go to these companies. And of course, you know, they get to see professionals in action. Sometimes when we have some of our vendors come in or some of our other people that do stuff that we can't do, I have them go mirror them so they can see how it works. Schools, hey, schools, it gets motivation. I mean, you take pride in your work center. You know, if you go to a school and it's like, you know, looking torn down, you clean it up, you feel pride about it, it motivates you. It helps generate attendance also. Because if a kid's coming to school knowing he's going to go get to work, or in my case, get paid, they're more likely to be here. Our graduation rates go up when you've got workplace performance going on there. Community relations. All my students, we have a shirt that they didn't wear them the last couple of years. When we go to state conferences, because we go and help Jacqueline, it says on the front, it says Eagle Technology, it says student intern on the back. Everybody knows who they are. They ask them, what does this mean? And when I've gotten phone calls from all across the state about my guys. But the big thing that all schools love is that very bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not. It says it saves money. Because if you've got to hire someone out to come fix something, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. If your IT department's small like mine, okay, we've got one person. Jennifer can't get to everything. My students can. They'll go out, they'll knock something out. What's it cost me? Pennies on the dollar, believe me. I'll show you how I pay them out later on. Employers. How do the employers benefit? Reduce costs. It doesn't take them as long to find someone. Training. They're hiring someone who's trained, who has the hands-on experience, who knows what they're looking for, who knows what they're doing. The employees are better prepared. They've been out there. Bless you. They're there. They know what to do, and they're ready to work. They want those jobs. They want to go out there and say, hey, I'm here. I want to work. I know what I need to do. And it helps them learn from criticism as well. Oh, got too far. Okay. So here's what works here at Sequoia. Your schools are our individuals. They're your own entity. Make them tailor to you. This is what works for us. We have what we call the Sequoia Eagle Technology Internship. Basically what you have to do is my students have to have Funds of Tech, Computer Repair 1, Computer Repair 2. Their senior year, so that takes their first 3 years. Their senior year, they're eligible to become an Eagle Tech. That's what we call them. They have to go through a pretty rigorous interview with myself and our IT director. And then we select students to do the job. This young man right here, Liam, he was one of our techs a year before last. He's at Loyola right now, studying programming. When I say hands-on experience, this is what they do. They're actually running wiring right there for a wireless drop port that we had to install. Gentleman over here, that's actually a teacher computer he had to bring back to the thing and figure out what was wrong. Hard drive crashed on it. He troubleshooted it, brought it back, repaired it, had it back to the teacher within about 45 minutes. Here's some hands-on, and this is my actual classroom, my Computer 1, Computer 2 classes. Like I said, this is my lab. I've got workbenches. They can sit there, and I mean, we do every aspect from the ground up. If you notice, you know, we've got some of the old beige boxes in this picture. Yes, old stuff is great. Free stuff is great. if you're doing a program like mine, because if they drop it, if they break it, it's not really that big of a loss. Free is phenomenal. I've had businesses come and just drop off like 20, 30 computers at our door and say, we don't need them, can you use them? Sure. Now, most of the time when we get them, they don't have a hard drive. Okay, new hard drive. Doesn't cost me a whole lot, but you know, it's a new computer I've got that they can work and try to work on. One of the other processes we have, simulators. That's the test out lab sim that I talked to you about a minute ago. The virtual lab. This is my actual classroom right here. Each of the students is in the lab doing a different part of it. They actually build a computer in that simulator to learn how to do the hands-on stuff. They practice networking in this simulator before I put them into the real-world situation. The soft skills that we talked about a second ago. This is one that I mentioned a second ago, the dress for success. I would not trust this group out in public because, you know, they just look devious, but they're a great bunch of kids, believe me. This was every Wednesday in my classroom with them. Every Wednesday, shirts, ties, some of them coats. Most of them went down to the Thrift Harbor or the Goodwill and bought their stuff there. I told them, do it on the cheap. You can get great stuff. We're in a Title I school, so, you know, buying on the cheap is kind of important for them. Another incentive that I give them is the industry recognized certifications. Test Out PC Pro, that simulator program I told you about, they actually have industry recognized certifications attached to their programs that you can actually have your students take. If they pass the test, you can print the certificate. They can put that on their resume. They can take it to their boss and say, hey, I am certified in this. For my Eagle Techs, their senior year, at the end of the year, I will sit there, and if they want to, I will pay for their A+ certification. Now, last time I checked, it's about 211, maybe 225 per test. Takes 2 tests to earn that certification. I'll pay for both of them because they've come through my program. They've worked for me. That's my way of rewarding them for doing the job right. And if they can leave my high school with an A+ certification, they're head and shoulders above a lot of other people who are coming out of college even with their degrees and maybe a certification, but they don't have the year of hands-on experience. And like I said, the most important thing for kids I have found is, I pay them. Now, I don't pay them a whole lot. They get 2 hours a week paid, and I pay them $8 an hour. They make about $50 a month. But in the big picture, they're getting a year of workplace experience. They're getting their certification. They're getting a grade for the class. Okay? The pay, that's the perk to it. They can leave out of here and do that. This is my crew from 2018, 2019, because my last year's crew, well, you know, we all kind of left before I could get the end of year picture with them. But each one of them are all going to college at this time, and they're all in some sort of computer programming. Like I said, Liam there in the middle, he is going to Loyola as a programmer. The gentleman on this part, the blue shirt on this end, and the one in the middle are both going to RSU, as well as the young lady in their computer science programs. The one over here in the black, he's actually working for a computer. He started working for a computer company this year. And the young man over there in the end with the O'Reilly's jacket, he is going to TCC in one of their programs. So that's workplace in the nutshell. Any questions? Jacqueline, I know I went kind of quick, and I know you have it pegged for an hour, but even when we were doing real world, we didn't go an hour.
Well, there is a question in the chat.
Okay.
So at what class do they start getting out fixing things? And do they have to check in before class starts each period? Or is it some type of modified school schedule?
Okay. Here's the kind of double-edged sword that I work with sometimes. They cannot officially go out and work on a school computer until they're in their senior year as an Eagle Tech, as a hired employee. But I'm going to put a caveat on that. Like this year, I am very short on techs because last year it didn't work out really well. We had I had a lot of seniors, not a lot of upper class or lower underclassmen. This year, I will probably send out some of my Computer 2 and my more advanced Computer 2 kids to go work on stuff that I know they can do. Like, my computer's not working. Okay, go check it, make sure it's plugged in, do the basic things. If it works, great, great to you. If it doesn't work, well, I'll get to it eventually.
More than it.
Do what? Oh. What was the other question? Yes, they have to check in with us normally. Sometimes we will send them a text, say, hey, go swing by Coach Cooper's room or go to Mrs. Green's room to check on this computer. But normally they'll come down to our classroom, they'll check in, and we'll send them out on any work orders that we have. Okay, let me see. That's it. I'm also not sure how scheduling logistics works for Capstone. That's something you've got to work with your school. My program, like I said, my program was established before I got here, and like I said, I just kind of fell into it, and it works great. They recognize the Capstone. Career Tech acknowledges this as a Capstone program, and it works. The only bad thing about Capstone is it is not Oklahoma Promise recognized. That's the only bad part about it. They don't recognize that for that. So they need to get their computer courses before they get to that.
Can I add to that, Randy?
It's your story.
Can you hear me okay? When you do an internship, the requirement from Career Tech is that they must have completed one course, that first course in the sequence of courses, or they can be taking it concurrently. To do a capstone, you have to complete all the courses in the sequence before doing the capstone. So I just wanted to clarify that and the terminology.
I've actually had a student that, because he started the program a year late, we actually allowed him to do Computer 2 and do our internship at the same time. He didn't qualify as a capstone, but he qualified as an unpaid tech for us. And he was good with that. It gave him the work skills. And at the end of the year, I asked him if he wanted to get the A+ certification. He goes, no, I'm going in the military, and now he's doing cybersecurity for the Air Force. So. Anyone else? Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys letting me come in here and, talk to you for the last half hour. Like I said, I know what it's like going through this, death by PowerPoint in the military. I mean, we had that all the time. It seems we can never get away from it. I tried to make this as quick and as painless as possible and as formative at the same time. Again, thank you for letting me come in and visit. Hope to see you guys around at our next conference. And if you need anything from me, Jacqueline's got my number, or you can just reach me here at Sequoia High School. We're the little Sequoia. We're in Claremore, not the one in Tahlequah. The one up here in Claremore. Jacqueline, I should have my number for all that stuff. Or you can look
Randy, I do have another question, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, this is Tracy. So I got into the breakout session kind of late, but I don't know if you mind sharing, but the funding source for paying the students, I would kind of assume that can't be Career Tech funding. Is that correct? Is that another funding source?
That is correct. This was a deal that, like I said, Denise McClure struck with our superintendent when she made this program. basically what it amounts to is, let's say you've got an elementary principal who wants to put a new computer lab in her class, in her school. She can source it out. You know, you can say, hey, I can source it out and buy brand new stuff. It's going to cost you probably around $600 a computer. Or you can let me build them and it'll cost you less, but we tack on, when we do it, we tack on a 10% overage. So if it costs us $300 to build a computer, we're going to charge her $330. That's how we generate our funding for it. And the funding comes from the school, and the school understands that we use that funding to help support our career tech program, our BPA, our internships. They understand everything that we use that money for, and that was the agreement that was struck with our superintendent when we first started the program. Does that answer your question, Tracy?
You know, this can relate to other things than just computer repairs. You know, there's other programs that do things for the community and charge a lesser fee, but they use that for their program funds.
There's a school out there that does web design, and they've actually, and I'm not sure which one it is, I just remember talking to them at conference one time. They have like a little web design business, school-based business, that they help companies in their local community with it. They build websites for them. You're limited only to your own imagination and what your school board and your superintendent will let you do. Other than that, I mean, if you've got questions, Jacqueline, Carrie, Christy, they're all super smart. They know what's going on, and if they can't find the answer, they'll reach out and find someone who can.
If you ever get a chance to go visit Randy to see his setup, it is awesome. I know I visited, it's been quite a few years ago, but I got to tour the whole school, got to see all of the different ones. And I remember going to the elementary classes, I think, or maybe it was the junior high, I'm not sure. And all of their cases were see-through so that the students could see all the components, which I thought was so neat for those younger students to be able to see that. And it's very impressive. And when he says, I mean, they do the wiring through the buildings, they do everything.
Yeah, she's talking about, that was my first big build. It was our elementary lab, and our principal said, I want the wow factor. I'm like, okay. So we found things that had lights on it. We put lights in everything. We made it so the kids can see it all. And you've got, you know, we call them the littles. They go in there and they see the inside spinning around and blinking, and they're like all into the computer all of a sudden. Unfortunately, that lab, we're swapping it out right now. We're trying to upgrade and update, and our IT person, she does not like those cases because it takes 8 screws to open them up, and it takes 16 screws if you want to swap out the motherboard. So yeah, she's not real happy about them, but they're a great there was a great thing when we first built it. And you're always welcome to say, hey, I want to come visit. How many of y'all are over here in Northeast Oklahoma? Where are you at, Tracy?
Tulsa.
Yeah.
I know
Bill.
where Sequoia is.
Okay. Where you at, Bill?
Well, I'm in Tulsa, but I live in Pryor.
Oh,
I teach
okay.
in Tulsa,
Yeah. You're just down the street and around the corner.
down the street.
Yep. Shoot up 20 and take a right instead of taking a left.
I know where you are.
Okay. So, well, my students just came walking in, and I think they're starting to snore. Oh, no, that was just blowing his nose. Never mind. So, anything else? Thank you again, Jacqueline. I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. Like I said, I'm always more than happy to help out.
Thank you very much, Randy. We appreciate you. Have a great school year.
You too. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Does anybody have any other questions while we're waiting? We have a few minutes. Just general questions at all? Okay, if not, then don't leave because they're going to bring us back into the room together in just a few minutes. So I think that's scheduled for 1 o'clock. Well, I'll let them know. So, okay. But if you need to take a quick break, you can do that, but just make sure you're back here by 1. Do not turn off your computer or change. Okay? Thank you.
All right.